Hey everyone, Josh here with Northface Construction. Thanks for watching today. Today is going to be a fun follow-up on a video we did 2 years ago. I'm here with my friend Morgan with Construction to Style. Thanks for hanging out today in your beautiful kitchen in your house. Today we're going to talk about 2021 exterior color trends and styles. The cool thing about talking with Morgan right now is not only do they do interiors, but they're in the middle of doing a full addition project on their house. So we're going to power through and kind of talk about some of the challenges that they're running into in regards to styling and colors of their house and see what we can figure out. Let's start talking about your addition.
We're adding on a sports court to our home. After 2020, we just were like, enough of being home. We have 3 kids and we're kind of like, we are not leaving this house and we need to create more room for it. So we put on an addition and now we're on the point where the siding is going up in 2 weeks and we're just trying to figure out what kind of color we do with it. Our entire house is pewter, which is a beige. My husband and I have had lots of discussions on what the color is because I think it's way too brown. He thinks it's a little bit more gray. So we've been diving deep, and also Josh is our reference all the time for exteriors and kind of what we do for that in clients' homes. We have a business where we do interior residential remodeling. So we see a lot of shifts from interior going to exterior and for different reasons. So we've been just diving into what kind of color we should do, and long story short, the back of our house is vinyl. The front is all wood, and then we have a pole barn, which is all metal. And so to re-side everything would probably be like over $100,000, I'm assuming. Like maybe 200.
I don't think it would hit the 200 mark, but you'd be looking at definitely a 5-figure investment, probably over 30 to 40, $50,000 potentially.
And so we're like, we don't want to do that. And so what we decided to do is we're going to just repaint the front. So we want a color that will complement the rest of our home, which is the pewter. And then you also look at like the fascia, the soffits, the doors, like things I wasn't always thinking about. And so I've been doing a deep dive into the different colors and kind of what we should do to complement it and for different trends that are coming up here in the near future.
To dig into that a little bit further, let me question you. What is your decision? So are you doing vinyl siding? Are you following the same textures and everything as the house? Or?
So we're going to leave it. So we're going to leave the vinyl siding in the back, which is the pewter, and then we're going to repaint the front, the wood.
And then what about the sports cart? Is that all going to be vinyl?
The side will be vinyl, the back will be vinyl, and the front will be wood.
Okay.
So the front of our house will be the wood and then painted.
It'll be all consistent that way.
Yes.
So tell me also about, you said you're looking at different like features because you're keeping that kind of trend because you don't want to deal with, I know you mentioned earlier, soffit and fascia changes because you have maintenance-free metal soffit and fascia. So switching that out isn't as easy as just painting it. I mean, you can paint it.
So we're going to leave that. And then a huge thing that we're seeing for 2021 and trends and exterior and all that is just like two-tone and bringing in different textures. And I think before, which people are moving away from, which I think is still beautiful, but the two-toned was you paint your house one color and then you do the doors and the window and the trim another color. Whereas now people are going to do different colors with the different elevations of the home. So whether it's the peaks that they're going to do different colors, or maybe for our house, there's different elements that stand out further and some are set back. So we're thinking about doing different, like maybe board and batten in those areas with a different color. And so,
Have you thought about some of, obviously you kept with the window colors matching up. I saw you putting Anderson windows on the addition. What was your thought process on the color choice there? Just match the consistent, what you had?
So we're going to match the consistent because again, it's a price thing for like going back and redoing all of our windows with that. But we do have all of our interior windows black. And so we kind of want to carry that dark, moody element. As you can see, this is our house, our kitchen. And this is kind of the color scheme that we're going to go for. And it's one that we're seeing for 2021. A lot of people are getting back into the beiges and pewters. And sometimes I'm like, oh, because I'm not a beige
It's like
person.
a flashback to like, that reminds me of flashback to like the early 2000s, late 90s kind of style. And it kind of gives you a little bit of cringes, especially the age group that we are. I'm like, I grew up in that. I don't really want to see it. But now that like, at least my take on it is, the blues and the whites and all that stuff getting a little bit
I agree.
out the door, at least in my mindset.
When I always tell people to, and like trends always come and go, and they always come back and evolve in different ways. So whether or not, like our house right now might be too beige, it's a new color that's coming back that we're going to bring into the front of it. But there are a lot warmer tones. And even when it comes to whites, moving into 2021, it's not that bright white, stark white. It's a lot warmer white with the undertones are a little bit more beige. The pewter is coming back through.
And that's a perfect segue to kind of the next topics. Let's open the floor here kind of to just overall color trends that we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to preface things again, Morgan is a much more stylistic person and up on the trends than myself. And honestly, I feel like sometimes the interior designers in the world that you're in is kind of leading the charge on these things, and the exterior is kind of we kind of follow a little bit. We're a little bit piggybacked on what you guys do. So I like to pick your brain on what you see as color trends moving forward in 2021.
Yeah. So I would say definitely everything's getting more warm. Before in previous years, especially when we did this video 2 years ago, we saw a lot of blues. There was a lot of cool tones. Now it's a lot of warmer tones. So again, bringing back the beiges, the pewters, a lot of black and white, the contrast. And then I would say instead of the greens, now we're seeing that shift to blues.
What about
vice versa?
Yeah.
Instead of the blues, now we're seeing the shift to greens. And people are really wanting that like warm, earthy, calming vibe. I think especially after last year, these are where the colors are coming from, is just they want their home to be a sanctuary and they want it to be peaceful and calming. And a lot of that in the interiors is green. And now we're seeing the green go out to the exteriors as well.
Do you see, on your end of things and just moving forward, do you see variations on the hues and the sheens that people are like kind of taking on? Because changing the type of finish on things and the different hue of a color can really make a difference, right? On the outside of the house, doing one thing this way and this, it gives you some contrast. What are you seeing on those? On that end?
Well, I would say interiors, because I'm not a pro like you are on the exterior, but I
self-proclaimed, so I don't know how.
People are definitely wanting more of the texture, the different, where it draws their eyes around a room and it's not just, flat or anything like that. But when it comes to paint finishes for interiors, like any home that we're remodeling now, I can tell there was a huge, must have been surge in matte finishes where that is gone. And I'm always like, why was that here? So yeah, definitely different finishes in that aspect.
So one thing that I've seen, and we have some upcoming projects that are moving forward, is, we're talking a little bit more warm variations of white and like the beiges and stuff like that. Some projects that we've recently completed and some bigger projects that we have coming up are similar to your style here with the black. We're actually doing black new Marvin windows, black on the outside, doing modern farmhouse white with board and batten shakes, all that jazz. I mean, we're talking about a little bit warmer, but then I see that trend. What is your thoughts on that? Cool. Is it just us following a little bit later than the interiors, or is that kind of still, is that strong still for 2021?
I would say the modern farmhouse is still strong, especially in interiors too. However, again, it's like a huge shift. It's not as much farmhouse, where I think the farmhouse overpowered the modernism to any home. And now on the exteriors, I'm seeing, again, they're bringing like board and batten or maybe slat wall or some texture. And they're willing to be a little bit more risky versus just like the modern farmhouse, white house, black windows, black doors. Now they're putting in those pops in different places that are kind of unexpected. So it's like they're getting a little bit more like risk taking, daring.
That's an interesting point, because I know some of the things, as like I look into my own kind of styles online. And then also some of our customers, some of those variations, at least that we're seeing, are introducing wood.
Oh yeah.
Wood grain.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point.
Stains and stuff like that. Like a nice cedar, rough cut cedar porch with a modern farmhouse and maybe a little dash of red here on like a shutter or something. or even a copper standing seam bay roof, like
Yeah.
stuff like that is like the little pops.
Yeah.
Would that fall kind of under
For
that
sure.
category?
Yeah. I would
Okay.
say wood is a huge one, even within interiors. Like we are doing wood cabinets all the time. And now looking at our house to complement the pewter, like we're looking at different ways that we can bring wood into the peaks.
Yeah.
And like keeping it wood, keeping it stained. Like people
Yeah.
really, again, goes back to that warmth. They want to bring the warmth in.
Yeah.
And so absolutely, I'd say wood. And interesting when you said red, because I have slowly, it's kind of with that,
Really?
like the greens and the oranges and the mustards, I've seen the deep red tones, and I'm like not a red person. But we have a client right now we're working with, and they want to do red. And I'm like, okay, like people are
Let's
wanting
see.
to gravitate back towards there. And I could totally see that as I was doing research on exteriors for our own home. I was seeing like, not again the same red that once was,
Yeah.
but a lot more moodier and earthier
Not
toned
kind of
red.
the barn red. In a
Right,
sense.
correct. Yep. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I could totally see that coming back in.
We've done that farmhouse style or barn style red with white trim
Yeah.
and stuff. And the rice scenarios, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks great. So let's chat on a next variation of things. So we talked about the blacks and whites, the beige, the warmth, the green. Let's talk about product variation and dimension. Let's start here.
Yeah.
What is out?
I would say Shiplap is,
Oh, sorry.
Is out.
Sorry, Joanna.
I know. And I like it. And
Yeah.
I think there's ways that you can use it. Like if you're doing something on the exterior and you're doing shiplap, like do
Yeah.
it green. Don't do it white. Like think about the different colors and the different just subtle touches that you can do. Don't be
Yeah.
putting it where it's places that are overtaking your home.
Yeah.
Or think about too, like the different layout you can do it. Don't do it the standard horizontal layout.
Yeah.
Like think about vertical
Or do it everywhere.
Yeah.
Too much of it. I mean, too much of a good thing
Right.
can be bad.
And again, if that's your style, like it's also your home. And
Yeah.
I always am an advocate of create a space you love because it's your home and your life will launch off it. That's my favorite quote.
Yeah, I like that.
So you got to do you, but definitely I would say just think about different ways that you can do it, and even like a herringbone or a diagonal pattern or an unexpected pattern, but still classy.
One thing we've also seen is people when they do a big remodel on the exterior of their home, they want to be able to say, we did this custom thing here, or or even showing it off with lighting. So
Yeah.
like one of the things that we tell our customers, like now we've been really trying to, when they're doing a big remodel at $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 remodel on the exterior of your home, is you may want to think about adding electrical stuff and lighting
Yeah.
to accentuate that.
Yeah.
To show those fancy metal dormers, show that born band. What are your thoughts on best practices or trends on that?
Well, I was going to say too, even when we're doing interiors, a lot of times we're doing full home renovations or main level renovations. And when we're speccing the interior lighting, once they start going up, then they start noticing their exterior lighting a little bit more. And they're always asking, because a lot of times when you buy lights, it comes in collections. And then they're talking about updating their exterior lighting. And so that is a big one, and also something that's often overlooked that you're not looking at when it's your own home and you're just used to what's there and you don't start noticing all these things. But I would say a big one for moving into this next year, not just so black. Everyone loves black exterior lighting, a lot of metal, a lot more larger, but I would say is smart electronics going into the metal lighting. So when you're coming home, you're driving in, things are turning on, or it's all controlled from your phone. That's a huge shift that I think will continue into this next year, is just the safety aspect too, and making it look like someone's home when you're not home, or when you come home or your kids come home or whatnot, that lights are turning on without you having to walk in the door and then start turning all these lights on.
Absolutely.
Or leave it on before you leave and then
It's just an
spending
extra
more
step,
money.
and with people automation and all those things coming up, that is a very good point. I really like that. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective.
right.
I'm thinking about it from showing off the exterior of your home.
Well, then you can light up your whole home for all of your neighbors to see.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can invest in a nice landscaping project, and then why stop there? All right, so thank you for all of this. This is great advice. The ending kind of coverall in regards to colors. I just want to quick ask you, what are your favorite colors going into 2021?
The biggest one I see is accessible beige is a huge color for exteriors. Another one is Revere pewter. Those are both very safe colors, I
Okay.
think, too. So I think we're going to see a lot of those colors. When it comes to black, I would say Onyx black.
Onyx.
Onyx, Onyx, yeah. And then one thing that you mentioned earlier, but was the bronze. And so a paint color is called Urban Bronze.
Okay.
And that is bringing in, the bronze that I can't believe is back either. And we're getting questions about
Really?
interior bronze
Over
sinks
copper,
and finishes.
Stuff like
yeah.
that too? Wow.
So that's interesting. And yeah, I'd say White Dove too. That's a nice white.
Okay.
And which we'll write a blog post on this as well and link to the video and share even more paint colors too.
Awesome. Thank you again for doing this video with us for the second time now and having us in your home today.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun. Hope we can do it again next year.
Yeah, we will. We will for sure do this again next year for the 2022 colors. Once again, thanks for watching, everyone, and make sure to follow Construction 2 Style on all the social media platforms and subscribe below.